everyone, and good morning. Welcome to our live feed update for August 24th. I'm your host, Taran Armstrong, and I'm here today to update you on everything that happened yesterday on the Big Brother 26 live feeds. It was day 39 in the house, and we had the feeds come back, which was nice. We had some nominations. We had some AI Instigator nonsense. And we're gonna be here to talk through it all. And with me to talk through it all is Maggie. How you doing, Maggie?
I'm good. The feeds were down for a really long time yesterday, but there is some stuff to discuss, so I'm happy to be here.
All right. Well, of course, what we saw Thursday night was Brooklyn was evicted. T-Core won the HOH. And she had talked through what she was thinking she might do. She talked to most of the players in the house, did some one-on-ones, and had kind of come to the conclusion that she will probably nominate something along the lines of MJ, Cam, and a volunteering Tucker, though he seemed to regret volunteering very soon after and seemed to have Rubina and Kimo saying, no, we shouldn't have you go up on the block. But then the feeds went out. There was talk about some racial comments that were made that we still have no information about. Feeds were down for, I think, something along the lines of 9 hours or so until they finally came back up, and we still have zero information on that situation. The feeds are still cutting throughout the day.
I wonder if we'll find out one day. I don't feel comfortable speculating because of how little information we have. So I guess we just have to move along. I don't know.
Yes, I'm sure we will find out at some point via people retelling it as opposed to us actually seeing it, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is for now. But yes, we have T-Core here as the HOH. And when the feeds came back, the plan was still the same. It was still Tucker, MJ, and Cam, despite the fact that Tucker seemed to be in a position to sort of be like, actually, no, I don't want to do this.
Mhm.
Seems like that conversation hasn't happened. Seems like Kimo and Rubina are okay with it now. I don't know what happened or when, but the Tucker going on the block plan is back on track.
Yeah. And much to T-Core's joy. uh,
Yeah.
um, yeah, this is the problem. When you say something, you can't take it back. So,
Yeah. Then the feeds go down again, this time for the AI Instigator. Um, and we've been thinking, like, who is it gonna be? What are they gonna say? The feeds came back from the AI Instigator with a very upset Rubina because Quinn came up in the hologram thing and said, hey, should have got Rubina out. She's in a showmance with Tucker. They were holding hands. Pentagon for life. Um, and this was very upsetting to Rubina. She was crying. She was very upset about this.
I can't believe that the producers got drama out of this. Like, I'm shocked. I know that they are thrilled beyond that this actually like caused some drama because when I heard about this, I was like, okay, this will be like a nothing. This will be just like silly and stupid and a little montage. But like, Rubina was very, very upset about this.
Mhm.
And people were genuinely, it seems like kind of surprised to hear this out loud. Some of this was sort of new information to people, I guess, kind of. But yeah, it was really interesting to me.
Yes. So of course, the second I heard this, I was like, "Oh, Joseph." um, Now, it helps that we kind of knew that this was likely going to be Tucker or Joseph. There was a big online push for Joseph, hoping that he would do something interesting with this, and It seems he has. Um, the problem is that, I think a lot of people at home assume that it's Joseph, and, also a lot of people in the house assume that it's Joseph. Which is exactly the issue that we talked about before. I talked about how you sort of see this on The Circle, all the time that, like, you think that you can get away with stuff like this, but, ultimately, it's usually pretty easy to catch the actual person that did it.
Yeah, because the information that is being shared, like, if you look through the lens of what somebody would want to accomplish, it's very clear motivation-wise what's going on here.
Yes. So, there is some speculation. The primary suspects are Quinn himself or Joseph, as the 2 most shady people in general.
Mhm.
Um, there's a little bit of MJ thinking it could be Angela. There's some suspicion that it could be Tucker himself. And I think I saw some speculation from the audience as well that this might have been Tucker himself. I think primarily because it just feels weird that Tucker wouldn't win a vote of any sort.
Mhm.
But you know, I think all signs currently point to Joseph in terms of actual events in the house. And that is the conclusion of most people, especially Kimo, Tikor, and Rubina, who really feel like this is probably Joseph.
Yeah, I know, like, I agree. I think that it would be weird that Tucker didn't win the vote, but I don't know that he would have put, like, Rubina on blast like this and be like, "You should have voted her out." You know? I think being like, "There's a showmance, he," would be something maybe he would do, but being like, "You should have voted Rubina out," like, I can't imagine Tucker doing that.
I mean, it's it would be very messed up if it was Tucker
Yeah,
because
like
Rubina was bawling in tears, and Tucker was, like, trying to comfort her, and some people are like, "Oh, because he was saying, 'Oh, this is maybe a good thing because now we just don't have to hide it, like, it'll be
Mhm.
fine, it's not a big like, but for him to have done that and not just admitted that it was him and that he's sorry would be so messed up.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That would be like, we would've I think that we would've seen him be like, "Oh, no, I messed up," versus just being like, "It's okay."
Mhm. Now, on the other hand, Joseph has never really liked Rubina.
Mhm.
It's weird that the message would be aimed toward Rubina and not Tucker. Like you should be getting Rubina out, not Tucker. We know that he kind of wants Rubina out. We know that he knew about the hand holding, and he was recently told just the night before that there was probably some more stuff happening with the condom box opened. And in addition to that, Joseph is going around like, "Yeah, I don't know, guys. I think it was probably Brooklyn that did it. I don't know. You think it might have been Brooklyn? Or I don't know, like probably not somebody in the house." Um, and in addition to that, he had a conversation with Quinn where he was
Mhm.
talking about how, I think I might have a shot at AFP. At least top 3, I think.
Well, this proves he's the star of the show, Taran.
I mean, hey, if you want to vote.
Mhm. Oh, man.
Um, So, yeah, I think, Joseph probably the top suspect here, both inside and outside the house. Um, so, we get the nominations finally as well. Feeds go down for that. They come back, and T-Core has done it. She has nominated Cam, MJ, and Tucker. Um, Tucker is not very happy about it. He's kinda like, I didn't think she'd actually do it."
Well, that's why you don't say it! That's why you don't say it! Doesn't have to be a courtesy.
Yeah.
No.
Like I don't know what you expected, Tucker.
Mhm.
The last 2 times you volunteered, they took your offer, they took you up on your offer. I don't know why you thought they wouldn't if that happened again. I just don't get it.
Yeah. Uh, I'm beyond trying to figure out why Tucker does what he does in the game. I think it's mostly for TV purposes, but this is one that he could have sat out. He didn't need to be on the block again. He's already the star of the season, you know?
So with these people on the block, it seems fairly like straightforward for now. Tucker he's like he's not happy about being on the block, but he seems to start getting over it over the course of the day. Doesn't seem to have like a huge impact yet, at least. Now Leah is still worried. She didn't go up on the block, but she's still very worried that she will go on the block. She's worried about becoming the replacement nominee, and she's telling people she's worried about being the replacement nominee. She's even telling Chelsea she's worried about being the replacement nominee after campaigning really hard to take Chelsea out and saying that she doesn't like her because of all the things she said about her. She even goes on to tell Chelsea that she thinks that Joseph is the AI instigator because she told him about the hand holding. Um, and like, I don't know why she's telling Chelsea all of
I
this,
don't
especially when the reason she doesn't like Chelsea is because Chelsea has said that she's like using the men, and in a later conversation, Chelsea is literally saying to her, "Man, you've got these boys wrapped around your finger. They all love you." And Leah's like, "Stop it." It's like
Yeah,
what is happening here?
I think Leah, like, doesn't doesn't realize, like, all the crap that she's talking when she does, like, how you know what I mean? It's like, why would you think that that stuff wouldn't get back to Quinn or back to Chelsea or back to, like, I don't understand. Yeah, someone in this chat says she just talks. I think she does just, like, word vomit and then is like, and moves along. Like, I don't know if she recognizes that, like, when she's venting about something to someone, like, that might get back to the person.
Yeah, I mean, but Maggie, she actually really hates people that talk crap about people, like, behind their backs. Like, that's not something that she does.
Yeah, I yeah. That's why I'm saying, like, I don't know if she recognizes she's doing it, because I don't understand I'm just confused.
Yeah, you know? She's just a sieve. She just goes right through her.
Yeah.
Um, so that's what Leah's up to. She is still talking like, "Hey, we can't forget about Quinn too. He's really dangerous in this game." Um, so, again, telling this to Chelsea of all people. Um, but hey, don't worry. There's more stuff going on that's annoying to me.
Mhm.
For instance, Kimo. Because listen, he does it once, and I'm like, okay, what are you doing? Okay, you have a crush. I get it, maybe, but what are you doing? He's helping Tucker with his days because Tucker doesn't know his days very well. This is like basically the one weakness in Tucker's armory is that he doesn't seem to know his days very well. Um,
Mhm.
and Kimo is concerned that it might be Otev coming up, and so he's trying to help him do some studying in preparation for Otev. He wants to make sure Tucker wins this veto. Doesn't want to lose Tucker. Why doesn't he want to lose Tucker? I don't know. Strategically, I think he should lose Tucker, but that's fine. Listen, I that already I was like, oh boy, I'm coming on this update, and I'm gonna be talking about Kimo helping Tucker. But then it didn't stop there
No, it didn't.
because he also helped Cam with his days.
Like, don't you see the advantage you have over these people who can outrun you? That's I actually can't really engage too deeply with this because people's inability to recognize their what they can and can't win over other people is like the number one thing that drives me nuts in Big Brother. I'm always advocating top of the season, You gotta get these comp threats out if you can't win competitions very easily so that you can win down the stretch. Like, it's crazy. It really is crazy.
Cam didn't know that he needed to be studying days like that. He
Mhm.
didn't have any of them down. And so Kimo is
Mhm.
like, "Oh, let me help you out with that." And it's just like, and this is kind of the problem, right? Like, Cam can't exactly help Kimo run faster.
Mhm.
Like he can't be like, "Oh, Kimo, by the way, you're gonna need to run faster in competitions." Oh, that makes me magically 50% better at all competitions. But the reverse is true. All it takes is one person. All it takes is one person to
Mhm.
just to be like, "Oh, do you want me to help you with that?" And just like that, everyone is screwed.
Mhm.
So hey, if they don't take out Cam and he starts winning all of the end game competitions, and Kimo loses the game to Cam because of it, uh, this moment, day 39,
We'll come back to it.
yeah,
So frustrating. It's just frustrating as the audience who wants to see, like competition, who like wants to see there's a chance like competitions can go either way or like multiple scenarios can happen. It just gets frustrating as viewers when it's like, okay, well, we're clearly careening down one path and there's nothing that can stop it, and that's what we'll be watching through the end of the season.
hmm Um, now in lighter news, Angela's gonna be hanging out throughout the day. And you know what? She's gonna be celebrating a little bit. She Put together a little charcuterie board. Um, Sit in the kitchen, just enjoying a charcuterie board. And you know what? Cheers, Brooklyn.
We really we are blessed that Angela is still in this house. There is absolutely no reason that Angela should still be in this house. And wow,
You shouldn't
BB26.
have eaten my charcuterie board stuff.
No, it's amazing. It's so petty. It really is to me classic Big Brother. It's giving the muffin. It's really giving roommates who have roommate issues with each other and are grown people, but they are petty. So
Yeah.
good.
I mean, listen, Angela won the married mother competition.
And
Just
did
gonna
she
rub it
ever?
in. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, all right. Well, Joseph and Quinn chat. They agree, at least Quinn does to Joseph, that MJ is the best target this week for them.
Mhm.
MJ would probably put either one of them on the block. And so Quinn is happy to send MJ out. Obviously, like the Tucker thing is a thing, but he doesn't really anticipate that Tucker's going to be the target. Um, and he, to Joseph, who he's worried has a final two with Tucker, is saying like, "Oh yeah, I'm still trying to repair things with Tucker. Like, I don't want him out. I want MJ out." And Joseph's like, "Nah, it's not gonna work. Yeah, that's not really repairable with Tucker." Um, Quinn's like, "Oh, okay." Um, Joseph's like, I mean, he basically told me that he's keeping you around to help me, which is a wild thing to say if you're trying to hide the
I
final two.
I also think that it's just like this AI instigator must have him really in his feels about his position and his star of the show. Like I just think like he's feeling real good at this moment.
He goes on to talk about how, and it's, listen, Kimo, he's so paranoid. He's so worried about Tucker in the final two. Like, first of all, you're not getting to the final two with Tucker. Second, nobody should be voting for Tucker in the final two. All he can do is win comps. If it weren't for the AI arena, he wouldn't even be here. So obviously, nobody should be voting for Tucker in the final two. Okay. Could you imagine if like Taylor did her work the way that she did by going to people like Jasmine and being like, so obviously Monty should never win in the final two. I actually think that people who have been on the block a bunch should win in the final two. And like that's how she did that.
Well, no, she would, but Taylor won the game.
This
So,
that's what I'm
you know what I mean? Like,
that's what I'm saying. Could you
I
imagine if that's the actual strategy that should, because that's the strategy Joseph thinks he's doing, is like the Taylor Hale, but he's so obvious about it.
yeah, I think I'm excited to see how all of this plays out for him. Can't wait to see his stock watch rating over the next couple of weeks. He is the most interesting one to me because he is at like position wise in a good place. The issue is just like his gameplay. So I'm interested to see what happens here.
Well, this is where he also says that he feels like, hey, maybe as long as Tucker keeps being mean to you, maybe I've got a shot at AFP. And Quinn's like, no. It's like, yeah, probably he's got it locked up, but maybe top three, maybe top three.
Mhm.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe there was a vote that happened recently that's giving me some confidence in this. I don't
Mhm.
know. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just these people just talk. They just say so many. I mean, maybe it's the influence from Leah. Maybe it's the crush on Leah is getting Joseph to be even more talkative.
I don't know. I think that this is just like, we talk about different ecosystems in the house. I think that this is just a house where people word vomit a little bit, where like it's just sort of the thing that you kind of say what you're thinking, unless you're T Court and you actually
Yeah,
probably
Tigor's the
should
complete opposite.
say what you're thinking. And you like Joseph needs a little more T Court and T
That's
Court needs a little more Joseph.
that's why Ticor is doing so well in this house. Is that
Yeah.
everybody else is just word vomiting and she
Yeah.
holds it all in.
Yes. You're so right. That is such a good point. Yes.
And it's frustrating for us, but
Mhm. Yeah.
so, speaking of, Ticor and Quinn are gonna vent about Tucker a bit. Again, mostly led by Quinn. But I think you can sort of see the hidden intention from Ticor in this conversation as Quinn gives her the space to open up about this. Like, man, he doesn't even pronounce your name right. She's like, yep. He did once. Did once. And she says that she would love to get the visionaries together to discuss some things at some point. So I really feel like Ticor does actually want Tucker out this week
Yeah.
if she can. She's
Yeah.
not saying it to anyone. But based on what she has said previously and her actions this week so far, you know, if Tucker doesn't win this veto, I think that there's a chance she is going to have a conversation with maybe the visionaries. Maybe,
Mhm.
maybe you got to broach that topic with Kimo at some point, and then they
Mhm.
may even, they will probably decide, like, should we approach Rubina? She said she was willing to take out Tucker today.
Mhm.
But this soon. She also said that she thinks Tucker's like her person. So,
Mhm.
do you talk to her? But I think that this will, if he loses the veto, will start to come into focus at some point. Although, okay, but probably much later. She's a procrastinator.
I so my roommate asked me if I thought that T-Core was going to go after Tucker this week, like genuinely. And what I think she should do, the way that I would play it if I was her, she's done everything she can getting him up on the block. I would not push anything. And
Mhm.
I would try to use this time as much as possible to sour people on him.
Yeah.
Like, not like while you're in power, obviously, like not in the way Joseph would, with the subtlety of a hammer, but in her T-Core way where she actually socially is quite good. And I would just use this time while I'm in power and he's on the block to sour him with as many people as possible. Because last week he was put on a pedestal and like you got to knock him off that pedestal if you want any shot at anybody looking at this guy.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think the thing is, the thing that either she's planning to do or just will likely do because it's how she tends to operate, is that if Tucker loses the veto, he's going to be heading to the AI arena for the first time in a little while. And probably very naturally, a lot of the people in the house will start talking.
Mhm.
Like she may not even have to do anything at all. Tucker. So Joseph actually went to Tikor and said, "Thank you for keeping me safe. I promise I will not vote out Tucker." Thinking that that's what she wants to hear, but also that that's what he wants to do, obviously. So like Joseph, Rubina, and Angela are all probably like locked in votes to keep Tucker if he's on the block. And there are 8 votes total. So she does need Kimo. But what might happen is like Chelsea, Quinn, even Leah, maybe like some of these other players may start to be like, okay, certainly Cam would if he was off the block. Start to talk about like, hey, do we have the numbers to take out Tucker if he loses? Very quietly, do we have this? And they don't know that T-Core nominated Tucker strictly as a pawn. Like they feel like she might want to take him out. And so they might approach Kimo and T-Core about this. Hey, with Kimo's vote, we can take out Tucker. At which point T-Core is able to broach the topic a little more easily, like, hey, Kimo, should we consider this? And she doesn't have to like take the lead on that. So I think that that's where this will likely go. Again, it all hinges on Tucker losing the veto. So that's part of it. But that's kind of the beauty of it, which is that if he doesn't, then he was always a pawn the whole time, and she never said anything about taking Tucker out.
And don't worry, if it's Otev, now he knows how to win. So
right.
This is all hinges on him not winning the veto, which we'll see.
Yeah. And no, as they're pointing on the chat, she doesn't actually need Kimo's vote because she can break the tie to evict Tucker. It's just better if she does it with Kimo. And then ideally, if she gets Kimo and then they have the votes, then they go to Rubina and say, hey, Rubina, the house is flipped. And maybe this is the time to just let Tucker go. And she probably will be upset about it, but she'll be less upset about it now than she will be later, in my opinion.
Yes.
Because
already, because of this AI instigator, like this has brought them, I think, closer together. It's put out in the open that Rubina has feelings for him. Now there's lots of discussion about Rubina's feelings for him. Like already we're sort of moving down a path where like we're going to be at the point of no return, and you should get there before it's there. Like if you really want to use and work with Rubina.
Exactly. Because it's also like, because it's multiple things. It's the longer they are in this game together, the closer they are going to get, the less Rubina's going to want to let go of Tucker. She will only want to get rid of Tucker like at the final 3, like at the final 4 at best. Even then, it may be too late. And in terms of emotions, and certainly it will be too late in terms of competitions. The sooner you can take him out, the sooner you can lock her in with you. And yes, she will maybe be upset with you for taking Tucker out. But where else can she go? This is the cruelty of the Big Brother game, is that these are her 2 best friends in this house. If Tucker's gone, she has 0 other close connections in the game. She has to forgive them. She's even told them that she's willing to do this, so she only has herself to blame. It's cruel.
Yes.
It's cold-hearted, but it's Big Brother, and this is kind of what they have to do.
It is. And, I really was thinking yesterday watching Rubina, Kimo, and T-Core like strategize for the hours that they did. I was like, they really, really did a great job keeping her. Like they did. And I maybe will feel differently if Tucker does end up staying and Rubina, you know what I mean? They become an issue. But like, this really does remind me of BB24 when they took out Amira. And I was like, this is the game move that propels the rest of the season and like changes the outcomes here. Because keeping T-Core and Kimo, now having Rubina and being able to play with Rubina, has opened up so many options for them. I'm not sure that they're like completely using it correctly. Like I have many thoughts on all of their game talks and everything, but it was critical for them to keep her. And the fact that they were able to pull the trigger, even with all of the drama, even with all of the everything, I still am like, yes, that was the move of the season so far.
Mhm. Yeah. It's Thundercats in the chat says T-Core taking out Tucker would be epic, and I hope she mispronounces his name in his goodbye message. Sorry, Teaker. Tucker. Oh, sorry, I can't get it right.
Sorry, Tucker. It's just too hard. It's just too hard.
All right. So, let's see. Cam talks to Leah. Listen, Cam is he's been talking lately.
Woke up.
He's been talking, he's been studying now. This guy's he's on the block. He might go home this week, but if he doesn't, he's turning into an actual threat here.
What if Cam literally becomes the strategic mastermind of the season and goes on a run, and after the end of the season, when we're like, you are one of the best Big Brother winners ever, what were you doing at the beginning of the game? And he's like, oh, I was just listening to Dan, I was asleep.
No, that's but this is the thing.
Taran says, Maggie, that's not even funny to joke about. People will get the wrong idea.
I just can't do it anymore. After all the Kenny stuff, after everyone was like, "Oh no, Kenny's doing this on purpose." Like, I'm done with this. I'm done with pretending like bad players are doing it on purpose.
Sorry.
But what I will say is that a player like Cam, who his problem was never that he wasn't physical enough to win competitions, or that he wasn't likable enough or charismatic enough to do well in the game. It's that he had no knowledge of the game and wasn't trying.
Yeah.
So the problem there is that if he does start trying and he starts learning the game because he's been there for a while and people are helping him study and stuff like that, he can become a much bigger threat as time goes on, even though they didn't see him as one earlier on. We will see. It is a slow process. I'm not saying he's magically become like a much better player overnight, but like he's starting to get his bearings, especially as all these alliances keep getting blown up and ratted out. He's recognizing where things are. And so he's been talking some more, and he talks to Leah. Remember the day before he said to Chelsea, we should be pulling in Leah and MJ, which yes, exactly. It's what they should have done weeks ago. But he goes to Leah and he says, hey, listen, I really appreciate you giving me the heads up on Thursday about the vote flipping. You were the first person to tell me, and it really means a lot, and I'm going to have your back in the future, which is just like the perfect way of doing this, because, everyone always talks about like, hey, get somebody to do you a favor, and then they will like you more because they feel like they've done something for
They
you.
owe you. You owe them.
Exactly. And so what he did is like, hey, you did me a favor. You have already done me that was such a favor that you did to me, and now I owe you, is a great way of getting somebody to feel like they have a bond with you. And obviously they already had a social relationship. There was a whole thing with them earlier in the game, but it really got tarnished for a while. And he's working on repairing it, and this is a great way to help repair it. So interesting stuff. Interesting that we're seeing Cam getting to work again.
Yeah. And who knows where it'll take us if he is getting OTEV answers and all of the...
It might be too late. This could be Cam's week.
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah. All right. So Joseph talks to Leah as well. And he has his own approach with Leah, which is the hey, I really worked hard to keep you off the block this week. I did you a big favor this week. And she says, well, hey, I really want to go to the end with you. He says, same.
And that's the perfect way to handle when you do someone a favor, is to go up to them and be like, I just did this huge favor for you. I really, really put myself out there for you. And I just really think that you owe me.
Right. Like just very briefly, like the difference is clear, right? Like when you go to somebody and you say, hey, you did me such a solid, I owe you one. Versus, hey, I just really did you a solid. I just really stuck my neck out for you. The latter feels like, ugh. Like, "Oh, now I owe you?" Like, this is annoying. Like, I didn't ask you to do this for me. Like, what you're telling me is that I didn't go up on the block, which I was really happy about, but what you're saying is that now I owe you for something that already happened,
Mm,
that I didn't
mhm,
even think that you had anything to do with? Um,
mhm.
like, and what's funny is that, like, the reality is that somebody did you a favor versus you did them a favor. Like, the person that did you a favor is probably the person you should be more grateful for. But, like, that is not really how our brains function in that way.
No. No,
So
because
yeah.
you wanna feel like you wanna feel good
Mhm.
when and telling someone, like, "I just did you such a solid," doesn't make you feel good, it makes you feel vulnerable, like, or to the person that you're talking to. Like, Leah, when Joseph says that to her, is going to feel much more vulnerable of like, "Oh my god, I guess I was really in danger." And also like, "Why is he telling me how in danger I was?" Like, y rather than being Leah in the situation with Cam and being like, "I did do such a good thing. Like, we're on the same page about how good I am towards you and how much you should be grateful to me," you know?
Yeah, and I think probably part of it too is, like, the agency of it,
Mhm.
like, I'm in control of who I do a favor, but if
Yes.
somebody's doing me a favor without me asking them to,
Yep.
that can feel very manipulative because it often is.
Yeah.
But that's the interesting part of, like, what somebody informing you that you have already done them a favor and you might not
Mhm.
have even noticed,
Yep.
is, like, an interesting way of, turning that on its head. So both Joseph and Lee are going to complain about Rubina for a while, as they do. Um, Joseph says that he wants Tucker to stick around as a shield for him. He thought that Quinn might be a shield, but he doesn't really think that anymore. He thinks he's going to need Tucker as a shield. And you know what? He's not really concerned about Tucker beating him in the final two, because he thinks he can beat anyone in the final two.
I actually can't talk about this anymore with you, Taran. Like, I I'm sorry. I kind of have hit my Joseph breaking point in this episode. It's getting kind of embarrassing for me to like keep talking about it. It's tough. And I know that like you are truly just going through the events of the day and saying verbatim what he said, but I'm getting actually like a little warm because it's really stressful.
I couldn't believe he said this.
I know it's like stressful to me. I,
He
I I don't know that I can get into it.
Literally, in the same conversation where he talked about wanting to go to the final two with Leah, he talked about how he beats everyone in the final two to Leah, including Tucker. I know that sounds cocky, he says, but I think it's true. I think I beat Tucker. I think I beat Quinn. I think I beat Chelsea. I think I beat MJ. I think I beat pretty much everyone. I might have an issue with T-Core and Kimo and Rubina, but honestly, I think I beat them too. Um,
Mm. And like,
like, usually how this works is that in your final two situation, you're like, "Man, I'm not sure. I might lose to you. I might beat you." Like we're really equal. You want to say equal because if you say you definitely beat them, that's weird. And if you say you definitely lose to them, that makes them feel like you're not actually going to take them to the final two. You have to say like, "Oh man, we both have a chance." That's why we're both such a great final two. Is that like it's really up in the air. Not Joseph. Joseph says, "Listen, I beat everyone."
it's and the problem is that it's like the level of delusion is, I love a delusional player, but like it's not the fun kind of delusional where you're
Oh,
just
speak
like,
for yourself.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe I am, but it's because he hasn't passed the threshold to me yet where I'm like, "Oh, not only like this just will never ever ever happen." Like it's really it's tough. I don't know how it's possible that we've gotten on this update and every single thing that you've said that Joseph said yesterday has been so wrong and bad.
I love it. Um, After she leaves, he is going to bemoan to the cameras. "Ah, I've got such a big crush on her. It's disgusting." I'm disgusted with myself. I'm supposed to be a robot. Uh,
How do you feel, fellow robot?
listen, not everyone has what it takes. All
It's
right.
true. Ain't that the truth, Taran? Cheers to that one.
Oh boy.
Oi.
So he talks to Tucker, and this is where Joseph still has something going for him because he does still have Tucker on board, so much so that Tucker warns Joseph, "Hey, just so you know, like pretty much everyone in Sixth Avenue doesn't like you." He doesn't say that. He said pretty much everyone in Sixth Avenue is suspicious of you. They're a little concerned. They don't know. They don't trust you. And Joseph's like, "Wow, well, I only trust you." And then Leah after that. And Tucker's like, "Whoa, I don't know if you should trust Leah. I feel like she's leaking everything you're telling her." It's like this. Joseph is getting actually good. Like Tucker somehow has his finger on the pulse more than Joseph right now, and Tucker is giving Joseph some good advice.
Yeah. Oh. Can we move on from Joseph, please?
Okay, well, one more thing then.
Okay, I can't take it anymore.
This is the important bit, at least in terms of what they're telling each other. Joseph and Tucker both promise each other that they are still choosing each other, the bros, above Leah and Rubina. That if they were
Because
on the
they're the
block,
same. Because
uh,
they're the same. Joseph and Leah is totally the same as Tucker and Rubina. Like, I can't, Taran, I can't. Oh my gosh, it's really, really embarrassing. Oh, it's so embarrassing. It's really bad. Oh gosh.
but that is so. This Tucker promises Joseph he will vote to keep him over Rubina, and vice versa. Joseph will keep Tucker over Leah. So, who knows how truthful this is on either end.
Mhm.
But that is what's going on there.
Okay.
No more Tucker. No
Now,
more Joseph.
what's next? Can we talk
That's it.
about Rubina, Kimo, and Tikor?
That is exactly where we're going. Yes.
Great. That's what I want to talk about.
So Tikor talks to Kimo and Rubina, and again, like this is where I feel like she is hoping that she can get out. She like here's the thing. I feel like even in the episodes, there's a chance Tikor may not say this in the DR. I feel like that's how careful she is about this. I think that
Mhm.
she will not say a word about wanting Tucker out until the possibility is there. Um, but what's telling for me is that when asked, who is your target? Who is your replacement nominee? The answer is, I don't know. I don't really know. I'm not really sure yet. You know why
Mhm.
she's not sure yet? Because she's waiting for the Tucker thing to be resolved first. If
Mhm.
Tucker's safe, that changes things and she'll have to figure it out. If he's not
Mhm.
safe, she doesn't want to say yet. She
Mhm.
doesn't know how she's going to lock that in yet. So she's not saying anything, I think, because she can't say the thing. And a
Mhm.
lot of it's dependent on what happens with the veto. And so she's not giving much here.
I mean, I think that it's very clear that what Tikor wants is the structure that she wants, which by the end of the night, she has voiced to Rubina and Kimo is Quinn and Chelsea, the three
Yeah.
of them, and Quinn and Chelsea. And like, this is clearly like, this is what I was saying that Tikor should be doing on her HOH, souring Tucker as much as she can, trying to lock in something that she wants. I don't necessarily know that this is the right group for her strategically and relationship wise, etc. But I do think it's very clear that this is what she wants and this is what she's wanted for a while. And you know, when I said last week, like win something. If you want to make what you want to happen, win something. And she has, and she is trying to put those pieces in place. So good on her. I'm proud of her. I don't necessarily know how correct this is, but I am proud of her that she's what she's trying to do.
I mean, I think if she's able to make that final 5, we'll talk about the final 5, but,
Yeah.
like, if she's able to make that final 5 work, it is a pretty decent one, for her. Um, it's hard to imagine, like, with the other people in the house, like, if there's a much better one in terms of, like, comp threats, jury threats, and just, like, structure to get to the end. But we'll see. So when she says to Kimo and Rubina that she's not really sure what to do, of course they see that as like, oh, T-Core, well, listen, we're both willing to go up on the block as a replacement nominee if you need it.
Okay.
Which, listen, I don't think she would do,
No,
but,
she
like,
wouldn't.
they're basically doing the same thing Tucker just did, which is, I think, volunteering, I
Mhm.
imagine, with the idea that she wouldn't actually do it, but, like,
Mhm.
since when does volunteering for the block, like, since when is that just, like, the polite thing to do?
In this house.
You'd think that Cedric would have put a stop to that.
But it's just like I said, there's an ecosystem of a house, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Um, okay. So they do that. She mentions actually Angela as an option, and it wouldn't surprise me if Angela is heavily considered if there's a renom needed. Um,
I
so
can't
keep
believe
that in
she just
mind.
wouldn't do Leah. I just don't. It's fine.
I think it could also be Leah, specifically because I do think Chelsea will rat Leah out.
Yeah.
The problem is we haven't really seen any significant Chelsea T-Core conversations because they keep blocking
Yeah.
anything that is related to anything. Um, but who knows? And it's not just Chelsea that could like plenty of people could rat Leah out about being worried that she's going to be the replacement nominee. So again, there's always this is the thing with Leah is that like every single HOH train, it's like, well, Leah could obviously be an option if anybody rats her out, and then it just never ends up happening. But there's always that chance. Um, but they also talk about how Sixth Avenue, it's kind of like the collective. It's not really real because we don't really care for or trust Angela or Joseph all that much. And ideally, like those are kind of Tucker's people. Those are kind of Tucker's additions. But we don't. If we had our choice, we'd prefer Chelsea and Quinn. And Rubina agrees with this.
Mhm.
Rubina, maybe doesn't have like the best relationship with Chelsea, but does really like Quinn. And certainly likes the both of them more than she likes Angela and Joseph. She's
Mhm.
very skeptical of Joseph, has never had much of a relationship with Angela. And so she agrees Chelsea and Quinn would be a much better addition to their 6-person alliance. She feels like, yeah, like it would be us, Tucker, Chelsea, and Quinn. Um, and so they actually talk about like, should we pull them up? Should we make an alliance with them? Should we do something with that? And they decide to hold off for now.
Good
Um,
good choice.
yeah. And afterward, Tikor tells Kimo, I like that alliance without Tucker.
Mhm.
That 5. I think that 5 would be a little bit better.
She does have to be careful with Kimo. She does. He is her number 1, and he is the one person that she jumps everything off of, but she does have to be careful with him when it comes to Tucker.
Mhm.
She just does.
Yeah.
People do this all the time. They think, I don't know, something's
Well,
brewing, Taran.
yes, I agree. I think that the way she framed it was okay because it was mostly like, "Hey, can we trust Tucker to keep his mouth shut about this? If not,
Mhm.
maybe we just keep him in the dark." She again wasn't acting like I want to cut Tucker completely out
Mhm.
necessarily, but very much like I don't know if we need to include him in this.
Mhm.
But you are completely right. And this is the very dangerous line she's walking. And it's why I think she would benefit from Tucker leaving this week.
Yeah, of course.
Um,
Mhm.
so so that's kind of where things stand for now.
Yeah.
As we wait for the veto competition. Actually, the feeds just came back from the veto draw. And I believe Joseph is playing. He got picked by Cam, I guess, is what I'm reading.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, it says Cam picked they're saying Cam picked someone. Cam literally picked Joseph over Chelsea.
Yeah. I mean, listen, like I said, slow road.
Mhm.
Slow road
For Cam. For Cam.
for Cam. I don't know who the other player is. Maybe the chat knows. But Joseph is obviously that's huge for Tucker
Tucker,
because
yeah.
Joseph will be very likely throwing once again.
Mhm.
And that means that Tucker has a better chance at it.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, and then I
Yeah.
still don't know who the other person is, but either way, it's obviously an important veto competition because if it's like Tucker not winning makes this week a lot more interesting, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited to see what happens this week. This is gonna be a good one, I think.
Mhm. All right. Anything else to bring up, Maggie?
Nope. Like I said, I'm just excited for the rest of the week and can't wait to see how this veto competition goes.
All right. Well, that is what we have for you. Then I will be back tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern to update you on everything that happens today on the Big Brother 26 live feeds, including what happens with this veto. As I said, it's kind of it's potentially a big one. It may or may not impact who leaves this week, obviously, but I think more importantly, it has an impact on how the week plays out and how much like drama there is in terms of like secret attempts of potentially getting Tucker out of the game. So
Mhm.
stay tuned for that. I'll give you the update tomorrow. And tomorrow night, we'll have another episode, an HOH episode. I'll be on Twitch watching the episode with all of you. And then we'll be here to recap it all. So stay tuned for all of it. Maggie, what are you up to?
Yeah, you can find me on Threads, TikTok, Instagram at MLMorgan_.
All right. Well, that's it then. Thank you all so much for joining us here today. And I will see all of you